Welcome, everyone that has joined onto this call and listening to this recording. My name is Carl. I am passing the baton onto the well-groomed, well-dressed Jordan Roberts, who will be giving us his insight onto how he's had clients lose 20 kilos in 12 weeks and really just his own kind of intake or insight to how he talks and works with his clients to achieve weight loss and also build muscle. A lot of his experience comes from his own personal background, being a professional athlete, bringing himself up to the A-League series in soccer. So for those that don't know, you've got like the top of the top, so millions and billions of dollars. He's just one under. So he's working on obviously working for the Socceroos. And with that type of background and experience, he's very calm and collected. I don't think I've ever seen this guy angry or annoyed, period, in 2.5 years of working with him. So I'm really interested to see his insight to how he works with clients and also to see how he unpacks everyone's questions. Because obviously he's based in Sutherland, so we don't see each other every single day. But it's good to obviously pick his brain as well and how he thinks, because it's obviously slightly different. So Jordan, take it away.
All right. Well, so pretty much the process I go through with my clients in terms of their nutrition is obviously I start them off with filling out the self-reflection log. So that's the biggest thing when starting out with a new client, or even if it's a person that's been experienced in the gym or training. The biggest thing when you're looking at your training or you're setting new goals or whatever it may be is to find out what you're currently doing and where you're at currently. Because obviously the goals you set is you're going to obviously progress to a new level when you achieve those goals. So obviously what you're doing now currently, not that it's not good enough. It's obviously you just need to make changes to get to your goal. So you need to find out where you're sitting at now. So I get all my clients to fill out their nutrition log or their self-reflection log pretty much from day one. So that will give me a lot of information on what they eat every day, essentially. Are they having 3 meals? Are they having 2 meals? Are they having 6 meals? Whatever it may be. Are they snacking a lot? How much water are they drinking? How's their sleep looking? Are their meal times consistent? So a lot of that information I can gather through the self-reflection log. So I get them to fill it out for about a week. Then they'll hand that to me, and then I can then look at it, take some notes, and usually from there I'll find out the biggest area that they need to focus on first, because usually you want to find the biggest problem. Well, not so much problem, but you want to find the biggest area that they need to improve on first and make a change there, because usually that will see the biggest change. So from there, that'll give me information to see where they're at now, and that's when I can then start to dissect sort of a plan of attack and break down their nutrition side of things going forward. So from there, pick one thing. So for example, we'll start off maybe just it's water. So the client might be not drinking enough water each day. So I'll recommend to that client how much water they should be consuming each day, and I'll ask them, can they achieve that? And they say yes, then great. I'll make sure that that's their goal for the next few days, and I'll ask them to just send me a message and just say, hey Jordan, I've drank 3 liters of water today, say for example, and I'll say that's great, and then I'll make sure that they've achieved that each day that they said they would, before progressing to the next focus in terms of their nutrition. If they're unable to consume that amount of water for the day, so say I said, can you consume 3 liters of water for the day, and they don't, then that's fine. I just say, yep, no worries, and that's where we stay at that. Just focus on the water. So they might have got 2.5, and I say that's great, 2.5 is good. Increase a little bit more tomorrow, and the end goal is that 3 liters consistently. So I don't progress to focus on the next area until they've achieved that first target of water intake, because a lot of the time that's the main area that people struggle with, is just the water intake in terms of consistency and the amount they're drinking. So that's usually the first focus. Once they've achieved that for the week or a few days, whatever I discussed with the client, whatever we felt needed to be achieved, that's when I'll then look to focus on the next thing, which again usually is protein, but it may be something different. It just depends on the client and what you see in the self-reflection log and what you deem something they need to focus on. But for me, I've found it's water's number one, and then usually protein number two. So once my clients complete the water, we'll then go on to protein and look to consume, again, depending on their goals, but usually start off with just 2 grams of protein per kilo of body weight per day. So again, I'll talk to my client, discuss. I'll say, are you able to eat this much protein for the next few days, 2 or 3 days in a row? They can, beautiful, we'll move on to the next step. If they can't, again, I'll make sure they stay on that and just focus on the protein until they've achieved that goal. So essentially, in a way, the steps I take with nutrition are similar to, I guess, steps you would take in the gym if you're teaching a client a particular movement, like a deadlift or a squat. They sort of need to earn the right to start to focus on a variety of things at once rather than just one thing. Because I find if you give them too much to focus on, they will do maybe 1 out of the 5 things rather than getting 1 out of 1 right. I'd rather do that than give them 5 things, they get 1. So yeah, that's the step I take each time with that. So once they've gone with the protein, I'll then ask them. Actually, sorry, before the step forward, with the protein, once I give them that target, I'll sit them down and discuss through them if they're unsure of what calories and macros are. So make sure they understand that and just have a basic understanding of what calories are and what macros are, just so they have a basic understanding of that, so they know what they're looking for in the future as well when I then give them their calorie targets, but also teach them how to read a nutrition label, and also give them the nutrition blueprint that we have set up on Google Drive, just so they can, essentially I just teach them how to shop really with their protein targets. I'll essentially just say to them, refer to the VH blueprint, pick a protein, any protein you want, and then from there I just say select some veg, some fibrous veg, some starchy, fibrous carbs, starchy carbs, and then also just a serving of fats. And usually that's how I'll get them to start off making the meal. I don't suggest or really recommend any sort of meals exactly for them. I just say, look, I just want you to pick a protein and just have that protein, whatever you want with it. Don't make it too difficult. Keep it nice and simple, as the protein is the main focus. From there, that's when I'll then sit them down and I've already explained the calories and macros, and I'll put together some numbers. I'll use the VH nutrition setup that Carl's created on Google Sheets, and I'll use that to calculate their calories that they need to take each day and their macros based on their goals. And then that's when I'll sit the client down, probably come in during a session or even over the phone call, and just explain to them sort of what the process is going forward in terms of counting their calories, why they're counting their calories, why they are consuming that amount of macros, and going forward what the plan is there. And to do that, I suggest they and recommend that they use MyFitnessPal. I use that app for the clients, and I recommend the clients use that app. It's quite easy to use. Now, it's not 100% accurate depending on which meals or what you enter in and which ones you select. But unless they're obviously a bodybuilder or going for a photo shoot, or they need to have it to the nearest gram or the nearest calorie, doesn't make too much of a difference. So yeah, I recommend they use that, and I will recommend they download it and use it to count their protein, just so they become familiar with it. And it also, again, just gives me an idea of what they're consuming each day when they have their protein, because they may have filled out their food log for that week previously, but this week could be entirely different. If they're increasing their protein, they may be having some other foods there as well, or maybe they left some foods out they didn't put in last week, or it's a different week of work, so they're consuming different foods. So I will recommend that they'll start to use that app when counting their protein and any other foods that they're having as well, so that, I guess, I'm just double checking what they're consuming each day, and it also gives an idea of how many calories they're consuming. So yeah, once they've familiarized themselves with that, I've talked to them about macros, calories. I've given them the numbers now. I've explained to them why they're going to be tracking this food for a certain period of time, and then I'll ask them to track their food. And that will just make it a lot easier for them, and also me, to make sure they're sticking on the plan. Now, not all clients are going to stick to the plan. That's just, I guess, natural. Everyone's going to have, a day where they may deviate, or a meal where they deviate. It could be birthdays or parties or whatever it may be. So that's not a problem. The fact that they're tracking their food with MyFitnessPal makes it very easy for them to just screenshot it and send it to me each day, so I can check in with them. And if they do deviate, I can then make a quick adjustment to their plan going forward for that week, so it's not going to be too detrimental to their progress over time. Yeah, that's what I go from there. Now, you're going to get some people that are going to be really good with their tracking their food. They're going to record it every day. They're going to record every meal. They'll screenshot every day. They'll send it to you, or however you receive that information. That'll be really good, and that will make your job really easy. Now, you're going to find some people that maybe really busy at work. They can't have their phone on all the time, or they forget to track it, or they forget to send it to you. So you just have to find different ways to get that information and find out what best suits that people. So for me, I've had a few clients that have been really good with it, and it's been really easy. They've stuck to the plan. They've made mistakes here and there, which is fine, which is actually good. Not that I want them to make mistakes, but the reason I get them to track their food as well with that app is they can actually see how much food they're consuming. They can actually start to educate themselves on their choices by writing it down and by recording it. So that's one reason I really get to do it. Yeah, and then you'll get people as well that won't be as good. They'll forget, or they won't write it down consistently. So it's about finding different ways to do that, and what best suits the individual. So that's when I can then I talk to my clients and ask how they prepare their meals for the day, or how they prepare their meals for the week. Would they have work? Do they meal prep? Or do they just, are they buying their food every day? What are they sort of doing? And that's when we can then start to give options of what will best suit them. So I have some clients that travel quite a lot for their work. They travel all around Sydney, depending on where they're rostered. So for that client, meal preps work really well. She'll pick one day where she'll cook for that week, and she'll pretty much just carry all meals around with her for the day, or for 2 nights she's working, or whatever it may be, and that works for her. And she just records she can just record it because each meal is pretty much the same. She just rotates her proteins. I have other clients where their breakfast is pretty much the same every day, but they change dinner because they live with their family. Mother cooks, so their dinner changes all the time, but their breakfast and lunch are pretty similar. So I know that they're going to be pretty close to what their calories are. So some of them, depending on the person. One of my clients is really good with recording their food. The other one's not so good. So all I've asked is just to record it for that week, and then they're happy to continue eating the same breakfast and lunch each week. They just rotate again. They just rotate their proteins, and dinner changes as well. So that's one way to do it. Find out what the client enjoys, and just keep it consistent. That way they don't have to track all their food all the time. And I let them know that if you're not going to track, that's fine. Make sure you stay consistent. But if you do go off plan, let me know so I can then adjust. And there's no harm done really. So that's one way to do it. It's really important that you just communicate with your clients and make sure that you're both on the same page and that they are communicating with you. If they do go off plan, you're communicating them how they can be better or what they can change. Because one thing I don't do is I never tell my clients what they can or should, or I never recommend them to really eat anything in particular. I let them, unless it really needs to be discussed, I sort of let them pick and choose what they eat. And as long as they're sticking to the numbers from what I gave them, and they're starting off that way, and that's okay. And then once I get that information from them or from the MyFitnessPal app, that's when I can start to identify different foods that they enjoy and they eat consistently, and other foods that maybe they don't. So maybe one of my clients really enjoys chocolate. It's like, okay, really enjoy chocolate. They have it every day, like one chocolate bar every day. It's like, okay, cool. I'm not going to tell you not to eat chocolate because it's probably going to make you really angry. You're probably going to eat it more. So we're just going to reduce the amount of times we eat it. Maybe we'll have it just before we train. So that way we're just going to burn those calories that we're consuming anyway. And maybe I can get rid of something else, maybe like cheese or something else that they don't have as often, and just substitute things they don't enjoy as much and keeping things they do enjoy. Because in the end, you don't want to make it feeling like a chore of meal prepping or like a chore of recording your food. You want to still keep it enjoyable, because training is essentially a lifestyle. We want to make nutrition a lifestyle as well, not like a burden. So they think it's annoying that they have to eat all this healthy food. So I still like to keep it enjoyable, and let's be honest, everyone likes having some treats if you say so every so often. I make sure that I don't take any food away from them. I just sort of let them make their own decisions. That's sort of the process I go through there in terms of counting calories, with my clients, counting calories and macros, and then through there I also get them from the start to weigh themselves every morning. So this is going to help, obviously, again, find out where we're at, but also I use it as information to see what's going on in their body. For example, you're training females, they look at the scale, they look at the scale and they say, oh, my weight's gone up. And then, you can ask questions like, oh, what's your eating been like? What's your sleep been like? Is it that time of the month? All these different questions. And that's how I can gather whether they're still progressing or not. And just talking to them about those different reasons why the weight can go up or down. Because, depending on your client, stress could cause them to binge eat or go for more sugary foods. yeah, just again, communication is a big thing with your client, especially with nutrition. Just being open and honest with them. Um, that's sort of how I go with my clients. And I tell them essentially as well. I'm not perfect. I go off plan as well. I make mistakes. So it's just about owning them and sort of being honest. And then most of my clients now know that if they do eat something they shouldn't, then okay, they're going to need to go out and train that day, go for a walk, or they're going to increase their protein for that day, fill them up a little more, increase their water. So they have an idea of what to do if they do go off plan. So they're pretty good with that. So from there, after I've obviously calculated their macro calories, they've recorded that for a while. Again, this will then slowly just make minor changes from the information that I get from my clients here and there. And as their weight drops, if we hit a certain point where we're then plateauing for a couple of days, I can then look at the information that I've tracked in terms of weight, training, food, maybe I missed something with their food, their sleep, and it's just about making little adjustments on the go to really continue to get that weight to drop or muscle to build, depending on what your goal is. So yeah, that's pretty much how I work with my clients there. Does anyone have any questions?
Could you elaborate more on the talking about a plateau in weight loss? One, what does that plateau look like? And two, when you look at the data, what do you, for example, if like sleep's down, what does that tell you versus client overeating at no time?
Okay, yeah. So if I see a plateau when they're recording their weight, so it might be like up to 3-4 days in a row where it's the same weight. Usually, then if I see that, I won't change anything too drastic. I'll just probably start to communicate with them and talk to them and just find out what's their week's been like. I'll ask them about their sleep. Had they been waking up during the night? I can look back at their programs. How's the strength been tracking? Have we been progressing each session? Have we been doing more reps? Have we been progressively overloading each session? What's their nutrition been like? Have they been keeping their water up? So there's a lot of different things I'll look for with a plateau. And as I said, it's after probably about 3 or 4 days, but I won't generally change anything really too much. I'll probably leave it to see about the 6th or 7th day. If it's still the same, that's when I'll probably look to change something. And again, as I said, the information I look at is a client's sleep. I'll talk to them about their sleep. Have they been waking up during the night? If they have, what have they been doing? Have they been going to the bathroom? Have they been getting back to sleep straight away? If they're trying to get back to sleep, maybe they're stressed. So I look at different things like that. Have they been progressing in their programs? Is their program due for a change? Maybe they've plateaued in terms of the volume needs to be adjusted in their program. So maybe their body's adapted to that, so they're not burning as many calories as they were. So I can look at that, and I'll look at their food. Yeah, as you said, with the overeating at night, maybe they're having, they're finding they're quite hungry at night. They're not eating enough throughout the day, morning and lunch. Maybe they had a really busy day at work. They're getting home, they're maybe a bit stressed, and they're overeating in terms of carbs or more sugary meals. So their digestion could be playing up, or there's a lot of things that could be going on there. So that's when, as I said, I'll communicate with my client. I'll notice it on the 3rd or 4th day, and I probably won't make any changes until about 6th or 7th day for that week, and then I'll implement a change, what I feel could be the reason why, and then go from there. And if that doesn't work, then I'll look at something else. And that's sort of what I'll do with that. in terms of if I see a plateau. If I've looked at a few things and still notice the plateau is still there, then I can look at their food. Maybe their metabolism has sped up a little bit. I can change. I'll look to change the amount of calories they're consuming, or maybe I'll look to increase their carbs if they're under recovered a little bit with their training as well. So there's quite a variety of things that I'll look at if I see a plateau with one of my clients. But that's why I get them to weigh themselves every day, so that I can address this straight away, not wait or waste too much time, weighing in once a week or whatever it may be. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, cool. Thank you. Next.
Anyone else have any questions?
Yeah, so I have a question. So when you say that you check their weight during the 7 days, do you do it every day? Like you actually check the weight every day, or do you have a specific day where you check, like a check-in day during the week, or you just constantly checking everything every day?
Yeah, so good question. On Google Drive in the client's folder, we have a check-in form. So I have a daily check-in form, so it gives me some information that I can check every day. So that is like weight, some sleep, how many steps they do, calories they hit, how their digestion has been for that day, so how many times they go to the toilet. So there's quite a bit of information on that check-in form that my clients will fill out. So I'll get them to do that every day. Some, again, depending on the client, some of that can be too much for the client. So I just simplify it depending on their goals, depending on the client. So I might even just ask my client, honestly, I just want you to weigh yourself, put your energy in of how you're feeling in the morning and how much you sleep that night before. And that may be as much information as I get from them. Other clients may want to get more information or may want to know the information, so they're a little bit more inclined to fill it out more often, and I'll get more information from them. But again, it depends on the client. But regardless of the client, every client I'll get them to weigh themselves and track their sleep. So that's the bare minimum that they'll give me. So they fill it out in Google Sheets in their folder every morning. So every morning they get up, they go to the bathroom if they need to, they jump on the scales, weigh themselves, and they just fill it into that folder. That's how they track their weight. So from there, that's able to give me an average over the week, because that's more accurate to track weight if you get an average over the week rather than doing it every Monday morning. Because you might have a different Sunday. One Sunday you might go out for drinks for a friend's birthday or something, and then the other Sunday you might be you didn't do anything all weekend, or maybe you trained like 3 times that weekend. So the weight might be different on the Monday. So I get to do it every day and get an average over the week, because during the week weight can fluctuate. I think it's like 1 to 4 kilos. I get them to do it every day and then get an average over the week, because that's a lot more accurate. And then on the end of the week on Sunday, they will then fill out a little questionnaire. It's just a weekly check-in form. Again, that's in their Google Drive folder and Google Sheets, just another tab down the bottom. And it just summarizes the week they've had. So it'll go through what their average weight was. It'll go through what their nutrition was like. Did they deviate off the plan? When was their last high carb meal? It'll ask them about their sleep. Was their sleep quality good? How was their digestion? Did they feel bloated at all during the week? How their training was? Did they miss any sessions? How their intensity was? If you're female, it'll ask you like whereabouts you are in your cycle, because that can be a lot of helpful information in terms of progressing through your goals, depending on what week that is, in terms of your training and nutrition. Get them to fill out all the information. It just summarizes the week they had, so I can then check in with them on that next session we have, and just discuss with them or if I see any sort of red flags when I do check that, I can literally just organize a quick call with them to discuss that and how we can move forward with that and get a problem solve that problem quickly if we needed to. But most of the time, you can just do it on the next session back, and we just talk through that for 5 minutes before the start of the session. If they have any problems. Yeah.
Thank you. Another question: what are red flags for you?
Red flags for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, if they're not sleeping, if they fill it out and you should be getting in total for the week. It should be about, I think it's about 56 hours of sleep at night over the week. So it's an average of about I think it's like 8 hours a week overnight. Over the week. So if they're filling that out and I'm getting like 40 hours, or there's a couple of nights where they've got 5 hours sleep, 4 hours sleep, 3 hours sleep, or unbroken sleep, or their sleep quality was down, then that's one thing I can look at. Yeah, obviously I'll look at their weight as well. If their weight's gone up a lot during that week, then that's sort of a red flag to me. And that's when I'll look back at their weekly check-in, or if I'm not sure, if I can't find it there, I'll give them a call and ask them without directly saying, why is your weight up? I'll ask them questions to get the answer. So with my clients, one thing I don't do is I'm not very direct in terms of like come across angry or anything like that. If their weight does go up or if they deviate off plan, I don't find that's a great way to do that. And I mean, for me personally, I wouldn't like that if for example, I weighed in at the end of the week and I was 4 kilos heavier than I was at the start of the week, then I know that something's not right. I know that I've done something, well, not necessarily wrong, but I know something's not right. So I wouldn't like someone to, sort of come across a bit like, how's the word, like stern, or like sort of questioning why my weight's up. So I don't sort of ask them, I don't go, why is your weight up, or directly the question. I sort of ask them questions so I can get the answer. So I go around the problem. So, I'll ask, what was your sleep like? What'd you eat? And those sort of questions. So I'm not coming across as if I'm angry. And I have had, clients where, deviated off plan, and even though I've told them 5 times or different things why, it's frustrating. But if I get frustrated or stressed, then they're probably going to get frustrated or stressed. So I feel it's better to just remain calm and act like it's not really a big deal. And talk to them and find out why. But I feel they're more inclined to trust me and tell me that as well, as if I'm not angry. Because if I'm angry, come across angry or anything like that, they may find, or they may look to not lie, but not tell the truth, so they're not in trouble. But in terms of red flags, sleep, weight going up, skipping training, it's a big one. They're not doing the amount of sessions that they've said they want to do and they can do, and I just ask why. But pretty much the main things that I've said before, sleep, nutrition, training, they're the sort of red flags if they're off by a lot.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. I just ask Eddie. So I had this conversation with Eddie last week. Essentially, we did a phone call briefly. I just wanted to ask Eddie, did you implement anything that we spoke about last week with your clients so far, or did you talk to them? Did you implement anything we discussed, or if you did, how did you find it?
Yeah, I found it obviously really helpful. Obviously, the way you approach it, I haven't yet implemented. Also, yeah, but I will.
Cool. Do you have any questions? Anyone else have any questions about anything?
Me personally, no. So far, it's also good points from Maria. From Maria's questions. From my side, nothing.
Cool. So I guess to round it all up, the main thing I do is obviously number one, I just keep it very, very simple for them. Starting right from the start, very simple, just changing one thing. Most of the time it's just the water, and then I just take it one step at a time. Like I said at the start, I treat it very similar to someone learning a new exercise in the fact that they have to earn the right to progress. So I set them small goals, and until they achieve that small goal, I'm not going to give them more information in terms of proteins or calories or macros or anything like that, because just in the end, I just feel it's just going to be too confusing for them, too overwhelming for some clients. And if they can't get the simple thing of just consuming more water, more than likely they're not going to be able to eat 200 grams of protein or track their food or, be consistent with that, consistent eating times, all that sort of stuff. So I start just nice and simple, small steps, just set small goals with them. And I always talk to them and get them to set the goal for me. So I ask them, how many days can you drink, or how many days out of the next 7 can you drink 3 liters of water, or whatever the goal may be. I always sit down and talk to them and get something that they say they can do, so they can then achieve it. And if they don't do it, they can't turn around and say, oh, you said this and I can't do that. So I get them to set the goal, how many days and how many liters. And then, just keep it nice and simple. So water, and then once they tick that off, goes to the protein, tick that off. I'll then give them calories, macros, track their food with MyFitnessPal. And then I make changes where I need to here and there. Essentially, as I said, I don't get upset if my clients deviate off plan or if they're not seeing results straight away, because if they do make mistakes, then it's good. They will then educate themselves, and they'll be able to see that, why their weight hasn't gone up, or they'll educate themselves in reading nutrition labels, or why they're eating so much protein per day, and all that sort of stuff. So, I just sort of there to guide them and give them some direction. But I let them, in terms of what they eat, I let them make the overall decision. I'm just there to guide them through their macros, calories, and offer them recommendations of better food choices that they can make, essentially. Cool. No one has any more questions. That is pretty much it in terms of what I do with my clients with their nutrition, and how I, from the start and just progressing through each week.
I'm having questions like how to approach clients like when they don't do things like they say they were gonna do, but I think he mentioned it just not to be like angry or anything, just to go around to trying to find answers, which I think is good. But now, I'm just thinking, okay, now I have to put everything in practice.
Okay, well,
but it's very clear the way he explained it.
So, Maria, you be a client that has deviated from the plan, and let's see how Jordan handles it, and see how you feel.
Yeah, like if I come to you and I be like Jordan, my period came, I had a fight with my boyfriend, I just ate whatever I wanted during the weekend, and so what do I do now?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. No problem. So yeah, you've had some food that you probably shouldn't have. You've eaten a little bit more over the weekends than we have set our goals for. But there's no problem there. How are you feeling mentally at the moment with everything going on?
Yeah, that was something that I was gonna say. Like, very guilty about it. Like, I haven't had any food today because
Okay. Why are you feeling guilty?
because I shouldn't have done that.
Why not?
Because it was off the plan.
Did you enjoy it though?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So look, we can't really change what you did. Okay, yeah, it wasn't on the plan, but you enjoyed it. You had a lot of things going on the weekend. You had a fight with your boyfriend. Okay, it's your cycle time, so a lot of things going on in your body. Yeah, you deviated off plan. You enjoyed it. How are you feeling now with everything that's going on? Not just your food, but in terms of your lifestyle at the moment.
Well, it's better because I'm not feeling sad. It just guilty. Like, should I cut my calories, or is there any exercise I
Did
should
you train
be doing?
on the weekend? Did you train on the weekend?
No,
No.
to be honest,
Okay,
no.
that's cool. Yeah. Well, yeah. This week, what we'll do, I'll just adjust your plan this week. So, to eat a little bit less food, not much. But you went off plan. You can't really change it now. It's happened. You enjoyed it, so nothing really we can really do about it. It was great that you let me know, because now I can adjust your plan for this week going forward, and we shouldn't see too much of a change in terms of going off plan. We should still be on track to reach your goals. So yeah, I'll just make a few adjustments this week in terms of your calories and macros. So I'll let you know what they are by this evening, so that you can start them from tomorrow. And then yeah, we can probably train an extra day as well this week. If you've had a bit more food, you're probably quite well recovered. So you can probably look to do an extra session as well this week. How's that sound for you?
Good. That I think I can work with that.
Cool. Sounds good.
Thank you.
And that's how we'll
Thank
go
you.
forward. All right.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, that was something that I wanted to know.
Yeah, you're gonna have a lot of other clients. A lot of clients you get, everyone will be different, but they'll have weekends or days, whether they'll have bad days at work, or fights with their partner, or whatever it may be. So once they come forward to you, usually that's the problem that you had. Like you said, you had all this food over the weekend. You can't really do anything about it in terms of changing it. You just ask how they feel about it. Did they enjoy it? And then yeah, you can just ask them, can you train an extra day this week, or just change your plan this week, so there's no problem. So you just sort of make them feel okay, because yeah, if they're feeling guilty, you want to remove that association or that guilt trip when eating particular foods.
Yeah.
Because that's when you can get they go good from Monday to Friday, the weekend comes around, they go to the pub and have beers or whatever it may be, and then they feel guilty about it, and they're like, oh, I'll start on Monday, or I'll start tomorrow, and then they'll do the next thing, and then they'll have a bad day at work, and then I'll go home and they'll eat all these lollies and donuts or whatever it is, and then I'll go, oh, I feel bad now, I'm going to start tomorrow, and it's just a cycle. So you want to, as best you can, remove the whole guilt thing with food. So that's why I asked, do you enjoy it? Is it okay? Because I had a client like that. Everyone knows Annette, or Junior and Maria won't know Annette, but Annette, she pretty much did that with chocolate. She would, some days, she would tell me that she can't, when I gave her calories at the start of, when we started training a year ago, I asked her just to eat 1,200 calories, and she couldn't. When she was sending me her food through, she was eating 800, 900, and she was telling me she was full. But then she would tell me that she had a bit of a guilt association with chocolate, and she'd have a bad day at work. She'd go to the supermarket, buy a large block of chocolate like that long and like eat it. And I said to her, like, there's like 2,000 calories or something in it, whatever it is. So I'm like, you can actually eat the food.
Which is the one.
It's just different type of food. Like, there's just calorie density. Like, this food is going to fill you up quicker. But, you were actually the reason you were actually putting on weight was because you're actually eating 2,000 plus calories. You just weren't aware of it. But we never got rid of chocolate at all, like out of her diet. She still eats it. Well, actually, she doesn't. She made it do it herself. She wanted to eat it. But I had said to her, I said, you don't have to not eat it. Like, there's other alternatives. We can go dark chocolate. And actually, one thing that I used with her and that really helped her was actually got her eating protein bars. So what she does is when she goes to Woolworths or Coles, and she just goes in and buys, started off with just a couple. Like, she'll buy the Body Science like high protein bar, and they have different like chocolate flavors. And that was actually a replacement for her for chocolate. She would still get that chocolate taste in her mouth, but it was 20 grams of protein, like maybe 1 gram of carb and 2 grams of fat or whatever it was in it. I can't remember. But she would get that 20 grams of protein in through that, and she would also get her taste of chocolate through that as well. So that removed the whole wanting chocolate. So that's sort of how we supplemented that in, or substituted chocolate for protein bars, essentially. And now she sees them on special at Woolworths, and she literally buys the whole tub. So she's got it for the week or the month, however long it lasts her. And because they're usually like $5, but sometimes they go on special for like $2, $3. So she'll just buy the whole tub, and so she's sorted. So yeah, when I said like I find substitutions for that was one thing I did. And I've done that with quite a few of my clients, because chocolate seems to be a big thing.
But it wouldn't be it wouldn't be better for them to have a piece of chocolate if that's what they really want, instead of, because protein bars could be around from, I don't know, 250 grams to sometimes even 300 calories. And sometimes even, I don't know, a piece of chocolate can be 50 calories.
Yeah, I agree. But what she's getting from that chocolate is she's getting the protein. It's helping her increase her protein, because she, as I said,
she wasn't getting her.
Eat 1,200 calories. She would eat 2,000 from a chocolate bar, or whatever it was, but she couldn't eat, 1,200 calories of nutritious food. So by me supplement or substituting the chocolate bar for the protein bar, it would take away her chocolate cravings, but it would increase her protein by 20 grams.
Okay, I see.
So yeah, that was one way to do it. So that made her happy, and that worked for her. So that worked for her. So that she continues to do that now. Someone else that might not work for. So that's where you find substitutions. So maybe you use more of a shake. I mean, she uses a protein shake as well now, but someone else might not like the chocolate bar. They may not like it at all, the taste of it. So you just, we look to another alternative to substitute. But that's what I did for her, and that worked for her. But yeah.
I see. Thank you.
All good.
Cool. Eddie, you are confident that you can get a client to lose 20 kilos in 12 weeks?
I wouldn't say confident, but now I have a bit more, let's say, of the steps and how to say, more like in a way, like a guidelines. What should I take and how should I communicate, and things to look at.
Yep.
And also if deviations, like how communicate with it. So more like a plan.
How often should you communicate with your client each week?
I'd say at least once a week.
Agree, Jordan? Or
I guess it's client dependent. I check in with my clients every session at least. Usually when they first arrive, or when they're warming up, or during their rest periods throughout the session, I'll discuss. I literally do right now. I don't really use the weekly check-in as much anymore. I pretty much know it off by heart essentially. So I will take notes myself and ask my clients questions throughout the session when they're on rest or when they first arrive. So I do that at least one session, but it depends on the client. Like if you've got a client who's quite competent, like for someone like Manny, I probably check in a little bit less these days because she's found a system that works for her. Unless I always ask her if she has any challenges or anything like that. But in terms of nutrition, she's found stuff that she eats consistently all the time now each day. So she meal preps, she's all sorts. So her I check in a little bit less in terms of nutrition, but other clients I'll check in more often. So I guess it's client dependent. But I always do the weekly check-in at least once a session with them. I'll go through their sleep, nutrition, and how they're feeling in terms of physically every session.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Cool. And of course, Tats. Confident you can help a client lose 20 kilos in 12 weeks?
Yeah. I'll just send them to Jordan.
Yeah, we've obviously applied those as well.
Good.
I think I like the second option better,
Awesome. Cool. And that concludes our video chat with Jordan. Thank you very much, sir.
No worries. Thank you.